Ashutosh, I'll let you catch a breath over there. If you and your camera person can just pan to the images, we'll just take our viewer through those images. Our viewers can see what is happening on the ground in Joshimath right now. Viewers, in a short while from now, the district officials, the SDRF teams that are present on the ground, you can see them on your camera screens at the moment. They will be demolishing two hotels in the area, which is View and Mallari Inn. Now these hotels have become a risk factor because they've developed major cracks. You saw that report that Ashutosh brought to you from across the road. He went into a residential part of the area. He went into houses that residents have had to vacate and leave because they have developed massive cracks. And this is something locals allegedly have been complaining about for the last 3 months. And now push has come to shove. You can see how everything has in fact really come to a pass in Joshimath. Now demolition activity is being undertaken in order to ensure that minimum damage is done to structures in the area. So they're bringing down, literally bringing down two structures using conventional methods. You have seen what happened to that massive structure in Noida, which was deemed illegal. And then, of course, that was a different method. This is completely traditional in the way, conventional in the way that the authorities on the ground are going to demolish these two commercial hotels. My colleagues Amit Bharadwaj and Ashutosh are reporting from the scene itself, of course putting themselves at some amount of risk being that close to the area, but surely they'll keep themselves safe. But you can see what is happening on the ground. Panic gripped Joshimath just a few days ago when many residents raised alarm bells about what was happening on the ground. The Chief Minister reached the ground as well. The Prime Minister's office took stock of the situation. And now you can see, you saw in that report that Ashutosh filed where the red cross mark has been put on buildings and structures that have been deemed unsafe, and several families have been evacuated from the area. So around these two hotels, which are to be demolished in a short while from now, families from around the area and those who've been living in the vicinity of this area have been removed as well. Ashutosh, if you've had a moment to catch your breath again, you said that the residents in the area, the locals in the area have been complaining about these cracks that have been developing in the structures, in the buildings, in their houses, in the roads for the past 3 months. Anything specific, any sort of specific activity in the area, developmental activity in the area, which in fact was linked to these cracks that suddenly the locals started noticing and raised alarm bells over? Ashutosh, if you are able to hear me.
What I see, Paulmi, here, the labourers have been called in with the conventional hammers and the drillers, and this will be used because the only aim is to prevent any kind of vibration, because if you use the mechanical drilling, that will possibly create an amount of vibration, and that could further damage to the property, and they already have to raise down. But since there will be manpower deployed, so there you see these labours are here in amount of, along with the SDRF, who will also taking care of these labours, and because more than 50-60 persons will be used here. So the first priority was to clear this wire, the overhead wires, the electricity wires. These are being cleared. Once it is cleared, these labours will enter inside the building. Now that I see really a major risk, the proper, the structure, the building, the hotel building, which is already tilting almost 2 sides. Now these labours will be entering at this structure to raise down this construction. Now that is also potentially risk even their own life. What we were told, that there will be proper study being done, proper Reiki will be done, and before raising out such structure. Now this will also lead to risk to these poor labourers who will be going to inside with these hammer. But though the process is not yet started, it's only the pre-demolition exercise at the moment being exercised by these officials here. So first declaring the area, the civilians have already been evacuated. Now all you see only the labourers here. Once this overhead wire clears, they will enter to raise down these two hotels which were chosen by the administration in the first phase. After demolition, these two, they will assess and analyze are there further any property which are literally on the verge of falling? And if that is the case, so to prevent any further damage to the structural road or the other places, that will be raised down. But for now, what we see today is these first two structures, these hotels, are going to be raised. But that's literally a challenging task and literally a very long, almost a mountain task that is being done here on these mountains. Polemy.
Right. Ashutosh, stay on with us. Ashutosh, of course, bringing us those live pictures from Joshimath, where two hotels, Mount View and Mallari Inn, will be shortly demolished by the authorities who are on the ground. They've conducted a recce. They've evacuated the civilians from the area, the vicinity of these two hotels. And in a short while from now, they will be bringing down these two structures that they deem completely unsafe.